A dramatic political shift in Mali, the dismissal of Prime Minister Chogelkokala Maiga. On November 20, 2024, Mali witnessed a dramatic political shakeup that reverberated across the country and beyond. General Assimi Goita, the current president and transitional leader of Mali, signed a decree dismissing Prime Minister Chogelkokala Maiga and all members of the transitional government. This bold move, announced on national television, marks a decisive turn in Mali's tumultuous journey toward democratic governance following a series of military coups. A nation at a crossroads. Mali, located in the heart of West Africa, has been embroiled in political unrest since the 2020 coup that ousted President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. The instability deepened with a second coup in 2021, led by General Goita, who consolidated his power and placed himself at the helm of the transitional government. The aim was to steer the country toward democratic elections and restore civilian rule, but these lofty goals have been continually undermined by internal conflicts, military rule, and growing public frustration. In this highly charged atmosphere, the recent decision to remove Prime Minister Maiga, who had been in office since the second coup, has only added fuel to the fire. Maiga's dismissal is not just the result of a sudden whim or a minor political squabble. It is a reflection of deep-rooted tensions within the transitional government and the broader political landscape of Mali. The catalyst: Maiga's public criticisms. The immediate trigger for Maiga's removal appears to be his public expressions of dissatisfaction with his role in the government. For a figure who had once been considered a stabilizing force after the coup, Maiga's rare public criticisms were significant. His frustration was palpable when he openly lamented his exclusion from key decision-making processes and raised concerns about the lack of clarity surrounding Mali's transition. He warned of potential confusion and misinterpretation in the transition period, signaling that the government was at risk of losing focus. These remarks, made just days before the decree, hinted at a growing divide between the Prime Minister and General Goita, the transitional leader. While Maiga stopped short of directly attacking Goita, his public statements were clearly critical of the way the government had been operating. His frustration centered around being sidelined and the lack of inclusivity in the decision-making processes. In a transitional period as crucial as this one, Maiga's comments may have been seen as not only a personal grievance but also a warning of the disarray within the government, a signal that the leadership was not as unified as it appeared. Here's a friendly reminder to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating stories from across the globe. Let's continue. The significance of Maiga's dismissal. Maiga's dismissal is a pivotal moment in Mali's transition, one that raises important questions about the future of the country's political landscape. As Prime Minister since 2021, Maiga was initially seen as an essential player in the stabilization of the government after the chaos of the coups. However, his tenure was fraught with internal divisions and escalating friction with other leadership figures, especially General Goita. By removing Maiga and his entire government, Goita has sent a clear message that he is determined to maintain control over the direction of Mali's transitional process. This act is more than just a reshuffling of leadership. It reflects Goita's consolidation of power and his unwillingness to tolerate dissent or public challenges to his authority. It suggests a firm belief that any public dispute within the ranks could undermine the legitimacy and stability of the transition. For Goita, this may be a necessary step to reassert authority, particularly at a time when the country is grappling with serious issues such as the threat of jihadist groups, economic instability, and pressure from international organizations to return to civilian rule. By removing Maiga, Goita is signaling that he is prepared to do whatever it takes to maintain the unity of the government and keep the transition on track, despite internal or external opposition. The broader context: Mali's struggles for stability. Mali's transition from military rule to civilian governance has been anything but smooth. The political landscape is marked by a delicate balancing act between the military leadership, civilian political forces, and international stakeholders. The country has been under military rule since the 2020 coup, and while the transitional government was meant to pave the way for democratic elections, internal divisions have plagued the process. The dismissal of Maiga comes at a time when the country is facing multiple crises. The threat of jihadist violence has only intensified, with extremist groups gaining ground in the north and center of the country. Mali is also experiencing severe economic challenges, including rising unemployment, inflation, and a lack of basic services in many areas. These issues have created a sense of disillusionment among the population, many of whom are frustrated by the perceived failure of the transitional government to address their needs. International pressure has also mounted, particularly from organizations like the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and the United Nations. These bodies have called for a return to democratic elections and the restoration of civilian rule. However, the ongoing political infighting and internal instability in Mali suggest that these external calls for reform are not likely to be easily heeded. A divisive move or a strategic reset? While General Goita's supporters may view the dismissal of Maiga as a necessary step to strengthen the government, critics will likely interpret it as further evidence of the military leadership's reluctance to cede power. The removal of Maiga could be seen as a strategic attempt to recalibrate the transitional government and regain momentum in the face of mounting pressure. By replacing Maiga with someone more aligned with Goita's vision, the government may be able to present a united front and regain the trust of the international community. For some, the move represents a bold leadership decision that could reinvigorate the country's transitional process. Supporters argue that by addressing internal divisions and removing dissenting voices, Goita is taking decisive action to ensure the success of Mali's political transition. The criticism leveled at Maiga by his supporters could be seen as a distraction that risked derailing the government's progress. However, for others, the move could be seen as another sign of authoritarian tendencies within the regime. By dismissing the Prime Minister and his entire cabinet, Goita risks alienating those who had supported the transition and could face resistance from political factions that seek greater representation and inclusion in the process. Looking ahead, what's next for Mali? The dismissal of Maiga is just the latest chapter in Mali's complex political journey. While the immediate consequences of this decision remain unclear, it is clear that the coming days will be critical in shaping the future of Mali's transitional government. Key questions remain. How will the new leadership restore confidence in the transition process? Will this move pave the way for more inclusive governance, or will it further alienate key political stakeholders? And most importantly, how will Mali navigate its road to democratic elections in the face of such deep political divisions? The international community will be watching closely, hoping that this bold move is not a setback but a step toward a stronger, more unified government. As Mali continues to grapple with its challenges, General Goita's leadership will play a crucial role in determining whether the country can find its way back to stability and democratic governance. So, what do you think about today's video? Share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to check out my other videos on the latest trends.